Hey Tony, it's Friday. And to answer your question of the week, I don't read a lot of. I don't currently read a lot of webcomics, but there are three that I try and keep up with here and there. Those three are called Darths and Droids, which you would love. It's basically Star Wars if it was a D&D game. But it uses screen caps from the movies. Also, there's a cat in this picture. Say hi, Spaz. But Darths and Droids is a great one you would enjoy. Another one that I really enjoy is actually called Business Cat, who I compare to Spaz all the time. And I think you would appreciate, I think you'd like that one too, Tony, because it's pretty funny. And then the last one that I used to read a lot, but don't really read as much anymore, is Questionable Content. Part of me enjoys it more now than I did, because it takes place in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is only about 30 minutes from where I am right now. And a lot of the jokes they have involving Northampton, I understand now, which is kind of appreciative. But what I want to talk about this week is something that's really, really sad. So, I don't know if you know Tony, but Anthony Bourdain committed suicide last night. I don't know if you remember Anthony Bourdain, but he did No Reservations on the Travel Channel. He was a celebrity chef who knew how to live. And I remember watching the show all the time with Mom when we were younger. I don't remember if you remember watching it, but I know I did because we would enjoy it. And it was always enjoyable. And it was the first thing I found out when I woke up this morning was that Anthony Bourdain committed suicide. He was 61, which means all in all, this has been a really bad year for suicides. In fact, the New York Times actually just did a report, and the suicide rate throughout the country has gone up 25% since 1999. So within your lifetime, like you and I's lifetime, the suicide rate has jumped up 25%, which is crazy and sad and heartbreaking, truly. Now, I'm not going to try and wax poetic on suicide, on anything like that, because that's not my position, because I am not dealing with the terrible, terrible depression that these people generally are. In fact, this week alone, Anthony Bourdain was the second person to commit suicide. The other one was Karen Spade, who was a big-time designer. I didn't know anything about her, but it's still sad because people are so full of life. And to just imagine a point when they no longer have that life in them anymore, it's heartbreaking, truly. And I remember last year as well, when in the span of a few months, Chris Cornell committed suicide, and then Chester Bennington, which I think hit me the hardest of all of them, because I grew up listening to Linkin Park. You and I grew up listening to Linkin Park, and when Chester Bennington committed suicide, it felt like there was a hollow place in my heart, and that hasn't quite gone over, and I don't generally think it ever will, because every time I hear a Linkin Park song, it always makes me feel sad, because these people were full of so much life and provided so much life to other people, so much enjoyment, and then for them to just be gone, it's hard. I think back to Robin Williams as well, which was also hard, especially because Robin Williams, I used to laugh at him all the time. He was a very funny man, and we never could understand what they were going through, and we still can't ever understand what people are going through. Now, what I will say people should do is, if at any point you're feeling heartbroken, you're feeling depressed, you're not sure you can really go on, life becomes too much for you, please seek help. There are countless suicide helplines throughout the world, throughout the country, that can try and help you out. Because I can never imagine what you're going through. And I, quite frankly, don't want to imagine it, because I like being alive. I like being me, and I can't imagine not being me, not being full of life. And it's hard, especially when it's people that you know, or at least know of, people that you grew up listening to, watching, people that you felt you connected on, even if they never knew you existed. And those are hard. Suicide is always a hard thing to deal with. The people around you always have difficulties getting over it and everything. And it's important to try and seek help when you can. Mental health is nothing to joke about. It's not just something you can just start feeling better. But there are resources out there to try and help you. So Tony, my question for you is, do you know any good resources for people who are dealing with depression? Tony, I'll see you on Tuesday. Later, bro.